Merci pour votre éclairage de Monsieur Selim Bogo. My next question is for you, Dr. George Donkor. His Excellency, the Secretary General, mentioned that one of the challenges of the AFCTAs is the challenge of infrastructure. And my question is, what specific role can the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development play in financing those infrastructures that are essential for the success of the AFCTA and also to promote cross-border trade?
Thank you very much. And let me also start by appreciating our brother for this laudable initiative. For over 10 years, that is very remarkable. And I want to associate ourselves with the other speakers to commend you for this initiative and to say that more power to your elbow. We hope that in future, ECOWAS Bank will partner with you to be able to make this more, intensified. Now, one of the challenges of AFTA, I'm not speaking for the Secretary General, is weak infrastructure. The first trading commencement was around January 2021. As we speak now, we all must testify that we have not been able to reach our full potential. One of the critical areas that we need to look at is weak infrastructure. The ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development, that is your bank, is owned by the 15 ECOWAS member countries. Our head office is in Togo, Lomé. The underlying objective of this bank is to support infrastructure projects and programs across all the priority sectors of the economies of West Africa. And the bank has resolutely, fulfilled this duty over the years. We've been in for about over 50 years, over 40 years, almost 50 years. Now, talking about weak infrastructure, what I mean is that there are critical enablers of trade, as we all know, in terms of, railway, airport, and so many things. And as a bank, we have invested over $2 billion in these areas. If we go to all the member countries, we see our infrastructure visibly. That constitutes about 47% of our total portfolio. So the bank is in the business of addressing the infrastructure deficit that we have in the sub-region. And I think that all those who came from ECOWAS will testify to this. Now, what we need to do is to be able to partner with AFTA. I think we have had so many meetings over the years, and I think the time has come for us to actually, come together and then evolve initiatives that will enable us to partner with them to be able to address the deficit that I was talking about. The bank is in the business of doing that. Not only the fact that we have already done it. If we look at our 2025 strategy plan, what we have is that we intend to commit over $3 billion for the period. And as at June 2024, we have already committed about 37% of this engagement. And so what I would say is that the bank has actually lived at its expectation, but we think that we can partner, with AFTA and do more in this area. Thank you very much for now.
And I'm going to turn to you, Dr. George Donkor. You were just called out by the Secretary General. As a regional institution, how can the ECOWAS Bank for Investment and Development help in harmonizing West Africa's economy and trade policies with those of the AFCTA and help in reducing those obstacles we just mentioned to intra-African trade?
Thank you very much. So let me also start by recalling some of the challenges or some of the objectives of AFTA. It was intended that by 2025 we should actually increase Africa's GDP to about $450 billion. And also it was also estimated that we should be able to double intra-African trade, which stands now at 16%, and then increase continental trade by 53%. Again, it was also estimated that we'll be able to take about 30 million people of Africa from extreme poverty. So the question is, we need to see whether we are actually aligned, whether we are on course. For us as a regional bank, I think that we have taken the initiative with Afreximbank. There is something what we call regional guarantee scheme. You know all the delays that we have. Bringing goods from Nigeria to Togo can take many, many months. These are bottlenecks that, actually impede against, trade. And I think that, as the President said, we need to actually integrate properly. As a regional bank, we are trying to develop what is called this regional guarantee scheme, which means that if you want to now bring goods from maybe Mali to Cote d'Ivoire, we have what we call a single guarantee scheme bond. Because each country, each national now has its own bond. So the difficulty of going through all these bonds, before you get there, you will have lost a lot of money. And so we are trying to now create this bond, which means that you need only one guarantee bond from conveying goods from one destination to the other. And I think we have gone far in conjunction with the ECOWAS Commission. So we are on that. That is one thing that, again, we need to also play advocacy role properly. As I said, I think we need to partner properly to enable us to be able to reach out to our citizens. Because I'm sorry to say that the number of artists even don't know the existence of AFTA, I'm telling you. Some of them even don't know the objectives of AFTA. And so I think that the regional financial institutions, Afreximbank, ECOWAS Bank, BIDC, we should, have a way of partnering with AFTA properly to be able to reach out to as citizens in order to be able to fulfill these objectives of trade. Now, another point I can also say that, you mentioned this single monetary system. As we speak now, most countries have not fulfilled what we call primary and secondary convergent criteria. There is a need for, Otherwise, now they've extended it to 2030, and that is another issue because the original thing was 2020. So I think that we also have to appeal to our government. They need to actually support this initiative because without that single currency, trade will also become a serious, challenge for all of us. Because if you look at all the countries, they have different, what we call, software. And so when you get to one border, the delays, the days that you spend in, go through the formalities, cumbersome procedures, and then, processes, you will even be discouraged. Another issue that as a bank we need to support, together with all the stakeholders, is to find how best we can also actually fight corruption on our borders. It's a very key important. Now from, if you look at the Abidjan-Lagos corridor, we have 96 official roadblocks. I'm talking about official ones, not the unofficial ones. So just imagine 96 unofficial blocks. These are some of the things that our governments and the bank, all the stakeholders, must actually come together and address. So if you ask about what we can do to harmonize policies, one, advocacy role is very important. The single guarantee bond that I'm talking about is also important, and having deepening our relationship with AFTA is very key. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Donkor. We have 5 minutes left. I will have a last question for Dr. Donkor, and then I will ask you to conclude briefly to all of you. After 3 years, would you say that the AFCTA, how would you rate the impact of the AFCTA in some sub-regions as compared to its real potential? So that's my question to you, Dr. Donkor, and then I will ask all panelists very briefly to conclude on your view, your vision for the AFCTA the next 10 years. Are you optimistic? So Dr. Donkor, and then each panelist, please.
Thank you very much. I think, as I said from the beginning, we have not been able to realize our full potential if we consider the objectives of the AFTA. I think that we need to, the Secretary General just mentioned, fragmentation. And what I want to emphasize is the need for us to actually, partner with all the stakeholders and have a common objective of advancing this very important cause. I'm saying this because it appears each country wants to protect its own borders, each country wants to protect its own interests. If we do that, we'll not be able to realize this objective. Let me give an example of just what he said. You mentioned crime. Definitely, whether after or not, crime is everywhere, even in your own border, in your own country. What we need is that the law enforcement agencies must intensify their efforts. In a situation where somebody is arrested, and the law enforcement agencies are taking money to let the person go free. Definitely, this has the potential of increasing crime. So I believe that the countries rather must actually find a way of fighting crime in their own jurisdictions. It's not that after we'll not be able to resolve crime issues across our borders. It's not possible. But the law enforcement agencies within our various jurisdictions, within our various catchment areas, should do that. And by so doing that, one important thing somebody mentioned in the previous discussion or conversation is corruption. I think that is an issue that we need to fight together, because it actually destroys all the efforts and all the initiatives by our governments, by all stakeholders. So I think that going forward, our governments are being encouraged that we should fight corruption in our region. We cannot do away with that, so that all the other systems in place will work effectively. Number two, AFTA must also partner with all the regional institutions, because, as he said, to be able to succeed in this endeavor, the financial institutions are key, and therefore there's a need for us to harmonize our initiatives. There's a need for us to deepen our relationship, and I want to throw this challenge to the Secretary General. To be honest with you, we have never met any face-to-face before, so definitely there's a problem. There's a problem. So these are the things that I'm not indicting anybody. I'm indicting also myself. We need to actually come together and see the way forward as stakeholders in this enterprise. And that's what I want to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Donkor. Thank you very much. Thank you to all panelists. Merci à tous les panélistes. Merci également à vous d'avoir suivi cette session très riche jusqu'à la fin.